Thank you very much, Senator Keneally. Senator Roberts.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you all for appearing today. Recent public statements from you indicate ongoing issues of interference by foreign nationals in Australia, including attempts to influence the electoral process. Is this considered to be an ongoing threat from that identified foreign power?
As I said in my threat assessment, Senator, there are multiple countries, so this threat is real. It happens at all levels of government, local, state and federal, and that threat continues. In fact, espionage and foreign interference has now supplanted terrorism as our country's principal security concern, and that's not to take away from the terrorism threat.
Are the identified risks, well, you just told us they're serious, very serious.
They are.
Right throughout all levels. From your public, changing the topic slightly, from your public statements, why are so many everyday Australians opposed to mandated COVID-19 vaccinations? They're opposed to the mandating, not to the vaccinations necessarily. Why are they being monitored?
That's not my remit. That's nothing to do with me in terms of whether people are opposed to mandates or want to get vaccinated. That's not a violent extremism problem. That doesn't fit within my head's of security, so we don't monitor or follow those people. If those people also happen to be violent extremists promoting communal violence or politically motivated violence, then they would get my full attention. But if they're not in that category, as I said in my speech last week, the vast majority of these protesters we're seeing at the moment are not violent, and they're not violent extremists.
That's very pleasing to hear. That confirms pretty much exactly what the AFP Commissioner said just an hour or so ago. But the press has perhaps taken a slant on that. So thank you for clarifying that. And having been at the protests on Saturday, people are just excellent. Why would you consider... Okay, no, you've eliminated that. You said in your recent security annual threat assessment that you do not have a problem with people holding opinions and would only intervene when these opinions involve promoting violence. You've just confirmed that again. What evidence links everyday Australians exercising their right to peaceful protest to being considered domestic terror extremists? I take it that's a media exaggeration.
No. In terms of protests, it's lawful. Public dissent is totally appropriate and right for people to do. But actually, if people are preparing for or advocating acts of violence, then they do fall into my agency's remit, and we will watch them carefully to understand what they're up to, and with our police partners work to stop them from harming Australians. Yeah,
there is a small element in just about every group who takes advantage of the group.
There certainly is.
Thank you. No, I don't need to ask the seventh question. That everything's covered. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Senator Roberts.